How's it going? Welcome back, my wonderful wise ones, to a fantastic video today because I want to gush about something. I want to get something off my chest, okay? That's what this video is all about. So today I want to discuss the lack of creativity in video games and gaming, okay? And I also want to discuss how Unreal Engine 5 is producing slop. Not just slop when it comes to stability and performance within modern day games. You can just look at so many Unreal Engine remakes, like the recent Halo that I called out, and I said what this game actually was, and most people just didn't want to, listen to what I had to say. Now, if you're enjoying it, that's fine, but, there are tons of issues with this game.
Don't touch me, you freaks! I won't be like you, I'll die first! Find your own hiding place, the monsters are everywhere! Play dead! That's what I did. Play dead.
That is completely unnecessary. Are you finished yet? Please stop being beautiful.
So when you're adding new dialogue and replacing old dialogue, you have to ask why. So some of Cortana's dialogue, the new stuff, is basically just pointing out what your eyeballs can already see.
And from a technical level, there's no way to actually make these games much more stable. Unreal Engine suffers with stutters, okay? Massive stutters in all of Unreal Engine games. No matter what it is, when you're traversing the world, there's going to be a stutter. And it takes you out of the experience so much, but for some reason, modern day game developers and big studios, games with big budgets, are supporting Unreal Engine 5 simply because of the pipeline. You have to understand that this is an easy software for them to learn and understand. It's not like creating a new engine that can implement interesting physics. Now, I don't want to be some kind of crazy unk, shouting into the void, but I personally miss games when they were about art style, aesthetic, atmosphere, mood, vibe, and artistic vision. Engines that were built from the ground up to actually utilize what the artists had envisioned in their minds, okay? When games had crazy unique physics to them and all of these interesting elements that an engine could allow, this is all being replaced now because everything is slowly moving to an automated process. Now for me, a clear example of this, like I discussed in my Halo review, and I understand that a lot of people don't care about this stuff, but the art style is very important. Halo 1 is just amazing with its artistic designs, its use of color grading, lighting. I switch back and forth between, the remaster and the original Halo game in Master Chief Collection and with this new Unreal Slop Edition. And the difference is just night and day. The amount of mood with darker environments, the use of color, interesting patterns in textures, and the simple geometric shapes, the, kind of effects that it used. Although graphically, you could say that yes, of course, this is inferior to what Unreal Engine 5 can produce, but honestly, it's way more visually interesting, and it makes the sci-fi game, which is about aliens and exploring an alien Halo ring, much more interesting instead of a generic sci-fi game. So I do hope you enjoyed this video, my wise ones. If you are new here, subscribe, become a wise one today. If you like deep analysis into video games and philosophical videos breaking down the themes and the art behind gaming, then subscribe for early reviews, yearly reviews, and deep analysis. Now, I'm going to try and make this a short one because it's just something I've wanted to gush about for a long time, but we are slowly moving towards an automated process instead of a creative one. With the use of AI now, and if you're not aware how much I hate AI and everything that it uses, the way that it's destroying actual land on the earth, the way that it sucks up tons of water, the way that it pretends to create something when all it does is automate and take in prompts, and these, talentless hacks say that it's creation. But then, of course, the whole point of creation is the metaphysical consciousness of the human being going through the creative process. That's what makes something a creative process. Now the output might look, somewhat similar, tell a robot to write a book, it might actually, you know, be able to prompt a book based on all the other creative and based on all the other creative works and outputs of actual human minds. It might able to mash it all together to make a new story. The output might look similar, but the creative process, the process itself is completely different. But the corporate overlords are trying to shove this technology into everything, and it's going into our art, it's going into our games, things that we care about. Games are art at the end of the day, okay? And having these automated processes, you know, make, you know, concept art for games, you know, make engines that utilize AI slop.
It's time to stop. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road.
Now, Unreal Engine 5 is not using AI, but there might be an Unreal Engine in the future that uses this. But the point is, okay, having deliberate lighting, the way that we're trying to automate all processes in video games now, like, you know, no more baked lighting, everything must be ray tracing, even though it doesn't actually work properly yet. It's still very, very early technology, and it's actually very heavy for most people to use, but we're gonna shove it in every single modern day game anyway and tank performance. And it doesn't even look that much better than baked lighting, because baked lighting, people don't seem to understand this. With baked lighting, you can create mood, you can create atmosphere, you can create a certain scene that depicts a certain emotion. You can't do that with ray tracing, you can't do that with Unreal Engine 5 and these new slop engines that modern day gaming has become. That's why slowly, without actually realizing it, you know, you're feeling something's off, the creativity is off, and that's why, because small artistic decisions are being taken out of video games, leaving them a hollow production. And that's what I see with modern day gaming, and it's only going to get worse with AI. And I just hate Unreal Engine 5 so much that I had to talk about it today.
Let him cook! Let him cook now! Let him cook! I said let him! You're goddamn right.
Now, what gives me hope is, even though modern day AAA games are certainly showing less creative vision, less risk taking, because they want to, you know, appeal to a mass audience. Pop culture, okay, is only popular because it's mass, you know, digested and consumed. It doesn't mean it's good, okay? That's what gets front-loaded to, you know, everything. TVs, movies, YouTube, it's all the top, you know, like 1% of mainstream media. So you have to actually dig deeper to look for something meaningful, to actually find content worth your time that does something new. That's why I do encourage indie games. Now, I played this one, Eternal Cylinder. It's not sponsored or anything, it's just a game I absolutely love. It's wacky, it's very creative, it's got such a unique art style, it's a very interesting gameplay formula where you're kind of looking after these little creatures, you have to evolve them, and it's got a pretty good story as well. Now this, funny enough, uses Unreal Engine 4, so it's not that, you know, these engines, especially Unreal Engine, you know, limits creativity. It's developers, okay, who are getting comfortable, because Unreal Engine does have automated processes, but it does make it much more easier to produce a game, even if it is more unstable, it lacks artistic vision. But when creators and developers take time to learn and utilize the engine correctly, it can produce some amazing stuff. But it is getting worse with each you know, new iteration of Unreal Engine. You can see the latest Unreal Engine and how that's performing. But Unreal Engine 5 in particular has so many issues with it. Performance issues, terrible visual artifacts that affect art style and gameplay, you know, everything flickering, it not being able to kind of process lighting properly, and then you add on top of that, you know, it's lumen and ray tracing bullshit. It's just a horrible mess. We need to encourage game developers, again, to make simpler looking games with their own engines that can, you know, actually let them utilize their creativity much more. That is the problem that I see with modern day gaming, is we're not allowing this process to happen anymore. We're asking games to be mass produced with huge budgets that affect the gameplay, that is the reason why games take so long to make. That's why we're not seeing any risks in video games anymore, new creative ideas. And the problem in the future is, with every game being on Unreal Engine 5, look at, you know, most AAA games now, okay, they're mostly using Unreal Engine 5. The problem is this means all games end up looking the same. There's no more distinct art style to them. Even if there is strong art direction, the visuals of the gameplay, because it's using the same engine, usually means the games end up looking quite similar, and we're constantly chasing hyperrealism, forgetting what gaming is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about a transformative, immersive experience, okay? Art and video games or any type of art is supposed to make you, express, these emotions that we might not want to talk about, like the, fear of death, suffering in our world, joys that we, might not say out loud, existential dread, transcendence. That's what I like to do with my music. Check it out, by the way, if you're interested. Art is supposed to express these things, but what I see happening with modern day gaming in particular, the AAA stuff, is it's losing all creativity thanks to these new products that are coming out, thanks to everyone moving over to Unreal Engine 5. I'm sure it's not the developers who want to do this. A lot of the time they're forced to use this engine.
You can't keep getting away with this!
And sadly, I only see it getting worse as we progress into more big AAA releases, because they all have to up the visual fidelity, even though with Moore's Law right now, gaming, visually as photorealistic graphics has already peaked. Now we're just pushing, tiny pixels, and we're getting terrible performance now. We can't actually run our games. We have to rely on upscalers. We have to rely on fake frames. This is the current state of modern day gaming, and it's just getting to a point where I'm so fucking sick of it. I'm tired of keeping my mouth shut about it. It's destroying the art form. It hurts actual moment-to-moment gameplay of the games I should be immersed in and enjoying, but instead I have to worry about performance, because that's what, modern day game chases now, is just fidelity above substance, okay? And with tools like DLSS 5, which is using AI generation to butcher art style even further, I made a whole separate video about that. It's just going to get worse, and they have recently released new footage of DLSS 5, and yeah, it's not as completely AI slop filter as it was before, but still it fundamentally transformed the vision of what these artists originally had for their games. So at a certain point, artists will be like, what is the point of even creating a game with a visual style, because it's just going to be overlaid and automated at the end of the day. And that is a very scary thing as someone who cares a lot about creativity and what makes these games special. Now here's a message for you guys who might not care so much about the artistic process as I do. Usually a lot of people who aren't creative, nothing wrong with that, everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, what they like, what they don't like, what they're good at, what they are not good at. But this is why so many AI tech bros want to hurt artists, because they fundamentally want to destroy creativity. They want to automate the process, give it to everyone. But if everyone is Vincent van Gogh or Leonardo da Vinci, no one is, okay? And you have to understand that automated processes take, the creativity out of things we love that make games special. Even if you don't really care about the artists, painstakingly, coming up with these visuals. You see, all the games had to be creative. They had to stand out with music, with ambience, with their lighting, with their, color grading, with their art style, okay? Because they were limited with the technology they had. So they had to utilize the limited technology to create an atmosphere, to make it feel immersive. Now we don't have to do that because everything is hyper-realistic. But in that never-ending chase for hyper-realistic graphics, we lose something. We lose something special about video games that made them special. And it's not that we can't still be artistic with, hyper-realistic graphics. There are games that do that, but it needs to be encouraged. And sadly, with Unreal Engine 5, with AI slop, with the current problems within the video game industry, that's why we see it crashing, because there are no risks anymore being taken. I encourage you to look for indie games, to play older games, to appreciate them for their art style, not just for the graphics, because I've also hit that wall where sometimes I find it hard to enjoy a game unless if I know I'm cranking the graphics up to max, and then I wonder, actually, it's not about the graphics, it's about the art style. What am I doing? So many developers now are using Unreal Engine 5 or AI tools to come up with creative imaginations of what the visual style will look like. And oh, whoopsie, what do you know? The AI slop is actually still within the game, just like in Crimson Desert, they had AI art. A lot of them will try and get away with this because it makes the gameplay, because it makes the game quicker to be released. And that's the problem with modern day gaming, is it takes so long for games to be made now because they all have to be, you know, make it or break it, with massive investments going into them. That's why we're not seeing creative risks, and that's why so many studios get shut down if they just underperform slightly. Now, personally, we have to return to what makes gaming good, okay? What makes gaming special? A transformative experience that can make us ask questions about our own, you know, morality, mortality, you know, ask philosophical questions, good stories that challenge us. But sometimes you don't even need good story. What you need is good art. When I think about games that truly have transformed the way I think, you know, I think about games that don't necessarily tell me everything through their stories. I think about games like Dark Souls that is very abstract in its storytelling, but the world itself, its, you know, background, because of the way all of these things are depicted within that game, from its art style to its music to its ambience, to, you know, the items within the game that give you a little bit of backstory. This is what makes a game transformative and, you know, transcendent. And I just feel like we're losing that process, and Unreal Engine 5 is a massive culprit in today's modern day gaming downfall. So yes, I do think Unreal Engine 5 is destroying modern day gaming. I do think Unreal Engine 5 sucks. And I do think that modern day gaming has lost its creativity. The lack of creativity in modern day games does scare me, and it's something that we do need to pay close attention to, because it's fundamentally what makes these games so special, if you ask me. And, you know, leaning on these tools that automate processes, that take artistic intent away from the developers and designers, even small things like lighting, I think has a massive effect on a game, and its mood and atmosphere. What's next? Is the music going to be completely automated as well, so there's no emotional input behind anything? It just makes me very scared for the future of gaming, and we need to question this, because this is the stuff that actually makes us stop, you know, in awe and look at the world around us when we are inside these simulations. And I think that's very special. So let me know what you think down below, my wise ones. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think we can do to solve this issue, this lack of creativity in modern day gaming? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you so much for listening to me rant today. It's just something I felt I wanted to talk about for a long time. And I'll be seeing you in the next video. Have a blessed day. Peace out.